Hope everybody's doing good. We wanted to talk about this misnomer that people think who don't understand what we're doing. What they think we're doing is repressing the sexual energy. They like to point out how dangerous it is and celibacy's no good and all these things. Those of you who are insiders, who are preserving your energy simply because it's such common sense that you don't even know what it means to try to explain to somebody why you're doing it, you guys know that you're not repressing yourself because you're following some mental concept that you heard. That's the main thing. See, it's all about motives, and we can't help it at first. I did it. My friend that I talk to all the time, he did it. We hear things, read books, and we get lured in to the material benefits of preserving our energy, right? Because this is what the ego mind does. It wants to know what's the benefits. Can I make more money? Can I get more girls? Can I do this and that and be more, good at whatever I'm doing? And so they get into it for that. But that doesn't work long term. And the reason it doesn't work is because it's shallow. The motives are shallow. At some point you come to realize this common sense thing that I tried to touch on a minute ago, that when you realize sexual energy is like a very potent energy. You start to become more aware of how your vibration drops when you're watching things on the internet that are just silly. Watching other people have sex is silly. It's like silly. Your wisdom kicks in, you're like, whoa, this is silly. Sitting there in the corner beating off, it's like silly. So then those things don't work anymore. When your mind used to tell you like, no, but it's healthy and I should do this. It's like you've like overcome that. you don't. You're like, this is silly, bro, period. So the ones that haven't reached that level, they think, because their mind tells them, and they don't know how to discern when the mind is talking nonsense, they create an imagination that makes them want to stop preserving their energy, because they say, I don't want to be a monk. I don't want to suppress myself. We're like given energy. We're supposed to use it. God made man, he made woman, and we're supposed to like be together and do. They have all this justification. And the funny thing is, when we're talking about preserving your energy, it has nothing to do with not having sex. It has nothing to do with not being with a woman. It has nothing to do with that. All we're doing here is asking one, if they're ready, to take a look at your life. And when you do these habits, do you feel like you're living in the height of your being when you're doing these things? That's all. It takes a while to even get to where you have the common sense to even look at that, though. Most are so stuck in their habits, they can't even see it. The justification comes right in, and they can't look at what's really happening. They don't have the capacity. Yet those people I'm not talking to, simply because we got nothing to say to each other. Like, they're not there. You're probably not going to hang out with the 6-year-old kid if you're 30. I mean, if a certain situation you might, you're supposed to, but generally you're hanging with somebody who's on a similar wavelength. Okay, it's the same thing here. That's why I tell people, don't try to go discuss this with people who don't understand. It's not about being a monk. It's not about taking celibacy vows. It's not about trying to force yourself into some rigid concept. That's not what semen retention is. That's why I don't like the word, actually, semen retention, because it gives off the wrong vibe. We're talking about Ojas retention. I made videos on that. We're talking about preserving your life force. Some of the clever ones, like I probably would ask this question in the past. Okay, well, how can I beat off and lose my semen without losing my Ojas? Yeah, it doesn't. Ojas is your life force. When you stimulate your dopamine center, you lose your Ojas. Jerking off, watching porn, edging, being obsessed with women and getting validation from them, that burns your Ojas. That because it stimulates your dopamine center. That stimulation creates friction and it burns your life force up. You're using your life force for those things rather than using it for more productive things. So that's the benefit of when you preserve your energy, is now you have energy to use for higher purposes, for deeper contemplation, for deeper looking at things. If you have a business or you have something and you want to look at it and try to understand how to structure it and organize it in the best way, you have more energy now to do that. You have more capacity. You can't sit in front of the computer and beat off and then expect, you're not going to have the same access to your intelligence that you would if you weren't doing that. That's just the way it is. Some say, no, I can do it doesn't matter, I can do either way. Okay, keep doing it. Later you'll find out. Those of you who already know that, let's talk. Every drop of life force you save, it can be used in a negative or positive way. So it's not we're following dogmatic principles, don't lose your energy. We're not, because the scriptures say don't lose your energy. That's not what we're doing. And if you have a girlfriend, you have a wife, you have to find your schedule. Do you want to release? Okay, try it. Do you want to release every day? Try it. Do you want to release every week? Try it. You find your medium. You find out how it works. It doesn't do any good asking me or somebody else, because I'm me, you're you. You have a different nervous system, a different temperament, different life situation, different everything, different stage in life. You have to work this out. The only thing you need that really is helpful is you be conscious of when you lose your energy or your life force. How does it feel? Forget that you read anything or heard any video. And don't just apply it to your sexual habits. Apply it to everything you do in life, the people you hang out with, the environments you're in, what you eat, how you sleep, the way you exercise, everything. You just check and see, is this good for me, or is there ego involved here and I'm doing it for lower level ulterior motives, my workout or where I'm going and what I'm doing. What are my real motives for doing it? And how much energy does it take? And look at that stuff. That's how you end up modifying and shaping your life in a way that's auspicious for you. Nobody can do that for you. We can give you guidelines and say you can see my True Health or Transcending Shadows channel. Also see my True Health book and my Preserving Your Sexual Energy book. We give a basis, a foundation, but then you have to make that your own. You have to, because you're you. You have to apply it into your life in the day that you're in the moment you're in, and it's through application that things really start to shift. It's not through just ingesting more and more information and all that stuff. I know I made some notes so we don't try to stay on point anyway. When I lost my life force, I felt it, man. Even as a young teen, I felt it, because those of you who have a more sensitive nervous system, you're going to feel the consequences more. I just felt brain fog, and I felt my willpower was weaker. My emotions couldn't be regulated as well. I could fly off the handle. I had more mood swings. I was tired, but then I'd get manic, and I was just all messed up. And I couldn't, it's just evolution. I couldn't correlate it to my habits in life, what I was eating, what I was, was I masturbating to? I didn't have anybody tell me to look at that stuff, So I'm talking to the people, I'm talking to my old previous self right now. Because I think if I would have had some guidance, I might have came out of this quicker, That's the whole point here. It's not learning some special technique or some cheat code that makes your life easy. No, you have to do the work. this lust will get burnt out of you at some point. It gets burnt out of you by coming up, and then it burns you because you see it's like no good for you, but you can't stop doing it. That creates a burning. But at the same time, you're conscious, you're like aware that like, this isn't good for me, but I keep doing it. That consciousness is what will burn up the lust. But you have to go through the grind. There's no easy way out. Those who think there are, and you want to keep looking for that, go ahead. Or want to learn how to I want to have an orgasm. How do I have the inner orgasm? Because it's so addicted to orgasms. How do I have you know what the inner orgasm is? Is when you're quiet enough inside and you feel your life force moving. That's an inner orgasm. It has nothing to do with your equipment. Oh yeah. I don't know which one I want to say first. There's a lot of videos out there that want to blame women, like for getting them excited. It's the woman's fault. No, the fight isn't against women. It's against your own inner compulsion to engage in habits that are stealing your life force. You have to take responsibility for your own self. That's the only way that you can muscle up inside and become more self-sufficient and contained. Don't blame the women. If the women are a problem for you, don't talk to them or go around them. Sometimes people take some time off. They just take some time off, and I did that when I went to the ashram when I was 24. It was cool. 3 months, I didn't see any women. It's like a breath of fresh air. Coming from LA, downtown LA, and the actor industry and models and all that superficial, pretentious stuff. So that's okay if you have to do that. But ultimately, you have to be in the world. This is why I'm not talking about being a monk here. The fight is also against society. This society is run on getting you, trying to get validation from women, trying to get sex, trying to, be obsessed with how you look so that then you can get more validation from women. That's what the fight's against, is this ridiculous programs and conditioning in society. You have to check out of society. You can still be in it, but just not be. You have to find your own way. You get to where you see this is a total hoax on some level. The wiser ones, either they go and live in a mountain somewhere, or they just kind of play around all the time because they've like outgrown the world. Because it's just so silly. Everybody's like caught up in their own habits and conditioning and don't know it. They're acting like it's real and it means something, You for those who can see that, yeah, I'm making this video is for you. You have to stay with your own inner power and just be one with that, and that's it. And then your stress level will go way down because you're like not caught up anymore in all this nonsense that's going on everywhere you go. It's almost like you're working a job and it's your last few weeks on the job and you just kind of don't care anymore. And that frees you. You can do your work better now. You can get along better because you don't take any of it serious. When you're like a player in this game, then things get heavy, man. It's like, no, you're stuck on this island called Earth for a little while, do your thing, and then you leave. Everyone's gonna realize this at some point. It's a question of when. It may not be this life, but man, it's just silly. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it. The other thing is, when temptation, because people worry about the temptation, they're scared. They're like, man, when I get activated, I just don't know what's going to happen. They think they're going to relapse. Sometimes you will. That's okay. It's part of the deal. Have you realized yet you don't have enough? It's not in your power to just eliminate and eradicate lust. Lust is like beyond the physical body. It's in your whole system. It's in your whole energy system, also in your biology. What are you just going to say, I'm not going to do it anymore? Some of you realize like you can't do that. But I found the more I made some kind of effort, whatever. You're not in a race and competition with anyone, but when I made some effort to preserve my energy, conserve it, that was fuel to help me when the temptation came again. It's like I had power. It's like that energy and life force was being exchanged, is like being transformed into power. It's like if you take, you have some gold and you go somewhere and turn it in, and they give you cash for it. That it's like an exchange. When I conserve my energy, and then all of a sudden the lust activated, I had more power. It's like the life force converted into power. This is how I knew I was onto something. This is how I knew, like, this is important. But you have to realize that for your own self. If you don't realize it in your own self, as though you never heard it before and your own self told you that, then you're not going to really be sold on this whole conserving your energy thing. You're going to be doing it because, like I shared at the beginning, for ulterior motives and reasons, but it's not strong enough. I mean, the mind is just ridiculous, man, with some of the things it says. It thinks somehow you're conserving your energy and you're not chasing girls, it makes you less of a man. You ever notice a lot of things the mainstream think, the opposite, literally the total opposite's true? When you're conserving your energy and you're not chasing women and you're not hating women or resentful, you talk. If they want to talk about something that means something, you're happy to talk. That's what makes you a man. That's the definition of a man. A real man doesn't... Can you see some of these warriors in the past, or Indian chiefs, or just any authentic being? Can you see them like sitting there looking at the internet, like beating off? That's like impossible. Or can you see them like going out and trying to go up to a girl, hey, watch, I'm gonna get her number. Hey, what's up? Can you like give me your number? Look, I got her number. You think a real man's gonna do that? Can't do it. He's not doing it because like he read something saying like you shouldn't do it. He can't do it because he's in touch with his masculine nature. Masculine nature can't do that. Masculine nature can't chase girls. A real man never chased a girl. It's not in his nature to chase a girl. Like, how are you going to chase a girl? If you're in touch with your masculinity and you're balanced inside, you don't have a need. Like, it's not there to, you don't need the validation. You're getting that from inside. You're already validated. You're not, because that's the main reason why the guys try to get the girl's number and attention, and because they need to be validated. They want to have sex, to have her say, yeah, you're doing it good. A real man doesn't need that. He doesn't care if he has sex and she said, oh, you didn't do it right. Oh, really? Okay. I don't think that you know what right is. I was with a girl who, man, she was too much of a sex addict. Too freaky, you know? Too obsessed with orgasms. She wanted, you know, I like let's just chill. I like chilling. I want to keep it more in the valley, not the peak. Let's keep it down in the valley, and you know, let's do that. And so if you're with a girl like that, she may think you don't know what you're doing, but you know what you're doing. She just doesn't know. You know that she doesn't know. You don't get offended. You're even happy. You're like, okay, cool. I see what's going on here. I don't think we're compatible. All the best. There's plenty of guys out there that will give you what you want. You know, you're kind of in a world of your own. If you keep getting higher and higher in consciousness, man, it gets more and more narrow. You get to where, like, who are you going to talk to? There's people out there, but they're like scattered all over the planet. You can't even find them. So that's the training, though. That's the training. I've said before, you and God have to become a majority. God meaning your true essence. It's not God as the entity somewhere, and no, it's your own true essence, your core. You as the human person with your mind and desires needs to be more merged with your core. and then there'll be balance, and then you'll come from that balance. You won't be practicing balance. That's your life. You're balanced. And when you make mistakes, you don't care. You're not judging yourself anymore. Like you're free. Free means you're free. That's what it means. You don't judge yourself on what other people think of you, or if you make mistakes, or if they think you make mistakes and you shouldn't. Like, you don't have these shoulds or shouldn'ts anymore. You just flow, man. You realize you're a human. This human form in this human planet, super imperfect. It's super imperfect. You're never going to be perfect here. Nobody is. It's impossible. It's easy to read about somebody that was here 2,000 or 5,000 years ago, and that, oh, they must have been perfect. Yeah. Books do a good job of making things seem like something they're not. You can experience directly what real truth is, and that's the only way you can be free. Books and stuff and scriptures are cool. They can give some energy. If they're not manipulated, that's the problem. You want to read something from somebody either who's still alive, or that hasn't been dead too long, and what they wrote hasn't went through a bunch of revisions and editing and translations, because like you don't even know what they said. You have scholars who try to interpret what some of these mystics have said, thousands of years ago, and then think that they've encapsulated what he said. A mystic, a mystic, when they talk, their words aren't to be taken literally. They're pointing at, you can say, an absolute truth, but absolute truth can't be boxed in to some words. The words are too limited. But those whose intuition's activated, they can sense where the mystic's pointing. That's who the mystic is talking to. That's why a real mystic, they don't care anything about. It was never them who wrote the scriptures and books. It was always others. Wow, this is really important. We need to preserve this. It's like you don't even know what they said though. So you get in touch with your own mysticness, because it's there. Preserving your sexual energy will help you get in touch with that, because then you'll have life force that can activate this dormant knowledge in you. Having sex and going to clubs and getting stimulation, that keeps you stuck in delusion. It activates the delusional part in you. This whole life's a game. What do we want to activate? Do we want to stay asleep and be under hypnosis? Okay, we're allowed to do that for a while. Then we start to suffer that, and then we want to wake up, and then we start to learn, oh, there's certain lifestyle habits I can do that actually put me in touch with my real essence. I always knew that was there. I couldn't get to it though, Okay, this is evolution. All right, I don't even know what I'm going to call this video, because I talked about so many things, but I wanted to say, it's been a couple months since I made a video, and I was out here, and I just made a video from my other channel, and so I said I'll make another semen retention video. So that's what I did. All right, I'll see you guys.